Hello. Before I talk about the main subject here, I know there is a volume issue on this video, and I'll just give a brief explanation about this because I owe it to my viewers. This is unfortunately a periodic problem on my channel. Last year, my computer got a virus, and so I believe that has probably impacted the sound system. It basically means that sometimes the sound is okay, and other times unfortunately, like the present, it's not great. So that's why the volume just isn't very loud. I'm trying to speak a bit louder. I'm trying to speak directly into the camera. So I can only apologize for that. When I can, I'm going to get new speakers or new headphones or something like that. So please just bear with me. I'm still going to upload videos simply to have them there as a record because there's particular subjects I need to speak about at a particular time. And this is one that comes to mind now. The EDL organisation, the English Defence League, had a demonstration in Birmingham a few days ago. If you're from outside the UK, basically the EDL is a controversial organisation, often described as far right. They claim they're not racist. They claim they're just standing against the Islamisation of Europe. Um, a lot of people don't particularly trust them. I don't trust them. However, I also don't trust the regressive left. Anyway, something happened at this particular demonstration that has gained a lot of attention. During the confrontations that always inevitably happen between left and right in these situations, an EDL member, Ian Crossland, was photographed in an exchange with a group of people. Now, the group of people seemed to consist of a police officer, a man with a mustache, and a young Asian woman, South Asian woman. Her name is Saffiyah Khan. As I understand it, she's of Pakistani heritage. I've seen sources also suggest she has Bosnian heritage. So let's say at least half British South Asian, you know. But suffice to say, she's not white. Now, the narrative of the way left wing media has been reporting this is basically healing her up to be a savior because the photos would seem to imply that she is standing up to an aggressive far right type. That's sort of the narrative, and this makes great soap opera reporting. You know, it's a great way to kind of. I think Piers Morgan started it off actually by tweeting Asian woman stands up to racist bully or something along those lines. But a lot of left wing sources have picked this up, the Huffington Post, BBC. Um, I don't entirely trust her. I don't trust Ian Crossland, and I certainly don't get a good impression from what I know of his history. Uh, Someone in the debate forum I was looking at posted a tweet which was outright misogynistic, not towards this woman, but a previous tweet that he'd sent. I don't get a good vibe from what I know about this guy. However, I am adamant that there is only so much you can tell from a photograph. You know the old saying, a photograph can speak a thousand words. That's true. But by the same token, photographs are they're a free shot of a situation. They're not the whole situation. Now, the ADL claims that what happened was she was part of a left-wing counter demonstration that interrupted a silence for the victims of the Stockholm terrorist attack. That's their word. Saffiyah Khan was interviewed, I believe it was by the BBC. She said that she didn't even deny that she did get into confrontations, but she remained calm. There was footage of her being led away by police, and she had a big smile on her face. She does seem to have a strong composure in all the sort of photographs and video clips of her. But she's a political person, and I just don't buy this idea that she's entirely innocent because the media is basically portraying her to be this great warrior queen who stands up to far left, far right thugs. I just don't buy it. I think this is a classic hard right versus hard left. Ian Crossland being hard right, her being hard left. If she's connected with Antifa, as far as I'm concerned, that is a strong indicator that her narrative, the way she's reporting it, may not be the whole truth. I mean, this is common sense. What frankly pisses me off about this is that only one side is really being heard. Now, why did the BBC not interview someone from the EDL to hear their point of view? It's not that I would believe them either, but I do think there should be a balance. And I think it's rather frankly disgusting the way there isn't even an attempt to hide bias. This has got nothing to do with me feeling sorry for the EDL. I think they bring a lot of the problem on themselves. But let's think about this photograph, for example. The way it's being reported is Asian woman stands up to white man. That, of course, sells, right? But if you look closely at the photograph, it seems quite clear to me that Ian Crosland isn't directly confronting her. Rather, he's confronting a man with a moustache, another white man with a moustache, presumably a left wing counter demonstrator. There's a police officer dividing them, and it looks to me like she decided to get involved rather than being surrounded. But what I find unfortunate is that in these sort of situations, people rush to judge it. Like they know the whole story. And I think it is a good example of incredibly irresponsible journalism that the likes of the Huffington Post, and to a lesser extent the BBC, especially the Huffington Post, are hailing her to be some sort of heroine. With what basis? Her word. That's it. That is it. Um, so to be clear here, I'm not saying oh, the poor EDL. Not at all. I don't trust the EDL, but I want them to be interviewed so that they can expose their foolishness. I don't want a situation where only one side is being interviewed. And the way that a single photograph or one or two photographs is being passed around like it's gospel truth, as if you can tell an entire situation from a photograph. You can't. You just can't. So I think it's a problem that this case is being reported the way it is, and I find that unfortunate that a lot of people are lapping it up. My own perspective is that it's classic, like I say, classic hard right versus hard left. I don't trust either side. I don't like the far right, the hard right. I don't like the approach they take, and I do think the EDL has some very dubious connections. I do believe there are white supremacists in that organization, and I do believe there's some very dubious origins. Like I said on the video, why I don't support the EDL in Britain first. But by the same token, I have utter contempt for the regressive left, and I despise this idea that if you talk about problems like Islamism, and that is not just about terrorism, it's also about. I mean, let's not forget Birmingham is a city where the Trojan horse scandal emerged. That is to say, an attempt to put an Islamist ideology in the education system. This is not some sort of made up conspiracy theory. This is a well documented fact that ended up in parliamentary inquiries. So I despise the incredible naivety. I was going to say incredible naivety, but I think it's worse than that. I think it's knowing dishonesty of the regressive left, that anybody who has a worldview that isn't the same as theirs, they will automatically brand to be a neo Nazi. I mean, I think it's compatible to despise Islamism and despise political correctness and despise some of the dishonesty that is going on, but not endorse the EDL or Britain First, because, like me, you might not agree with their tactics, and you're also concerned about some of their origins. But do I see this young woman as a heroine? No. I mean, for one thing, she was hardly in any danger. There was a police officer right there. Um, And another issue I take with it is it's inherently a flawed argument to say because she is an Asian woman, her narrative must be the truth. And it's this pathetic way that left wing media outlets use people to push their agenda. So the Huffington Post, for example, is a left wing organization. It fits right into the narrative. Oh, let's get this young Asian woman to look like a heroine. And the thing is, the EDL are pretty good at looking like the villains. I think they often shoot themselves in the foot with their behavior. Um, I just don't think that people should rush to judgment when they don't know the full story here. I'm not saying I believe the EDL, because apparently there were some of their own members interrupting the minute's silence or whatever it was. But, the far left groups that deliberately go to confront the EDL and absolutely ignore the fact of Islamist fascism. I mean, I would like to know Saffiyah Khan's views on the treatment of women who are victims of rape, who then get accused of adultery and stoned to death. People might say it's a secondary issue or it's not connected. I disagree. I think if you're going to wear your heart on your sleeve, you need to be prepared to be challenged. And what pisses me off is that the media will not do their job. They won't. So she's simply being given a free ride to say what she wants. Oh, everyone should believe me. And she's not challenged. I think that's frankly disgusting. I want a situation where both she and an EDL representative, they have their view, they give their account of what happened, but then they are also challenged. But the way, as it stands, it's a case whereby media outlets will take their side from the outset. So the Huffington Post isn't interested in the truth. They're only interested in the fact, oh, well, she's an Asian woman, therefore she fits into our worldview because, the wicked white guys. And I don't trust Ian Crossland, but that's not the point. It's really, really not the point. I want to see him interviewed so he can make a fool of himself. But it's this bias that sickens me, to be quite honest. It's disgusting. It's corrupt. And I believe that is a threat to democracy. A while back, Nick Robinson, and I don't want to go too far off on a tangent here, but Nick Robinson said the public should stop complaining about bias um, because there's going to be people who have views that they disagree with. But I think he's missing the point about mistrust in the media. It's not necessarily about people having a different point of view. It's about not trying to show both sides. So the BBC can pontificate if they like. The Huffington Post can pontificate if they like. But if you don't show both sides, if you don't at least let the other side have a view, then you're going to be accused of bias, and you can't complain about that because the media is immensely powerful, and this is yet another example of their power. Just using that in an irresponsible way. This has went viral. And it's went viral because left wing outlets have held her up as a heroine with zero evidence to that effect. What's she done that's made her so brave? There's a police officer right there. It's not like she, went into a white supremacist meeting and, voiced her opinions. From what I can see, she's clearly a political person. This is no shrinking violet who's being bullied by the far right. She wanted confrontation. She got it. I just think people are looking at this from an entirely sensationalist perspective, and I think that's a problem. Let me know your thoughts.